we interrupt this program to bring you a breaking news alert. This is a Prodigy Bulletin. We have a developing story here at Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. On this Saturday afternoon, March 2nd, 2019, as Bowlin Nolan Kemp has begun his third game of league with the front 9 strikes in a row. He has never been in this position before, standing up on the approach in the 10th frame with a chance for 300, and he's backing off. He waited for the entire opposing team to finish their 10th frame before he got up. He must have waited an extra 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and it has just added to the tension here. The 10th ball. Oh, and he gets a lucky one. He crossed over. But the Brooklyn goes, and you can see it's just weighing on him. I told him before he got up, I said, look, just think about 1 strike. Don't think about getting 3, just think about getting 1 strike. And then when you get that one, think about 1 more. You can't think about the consequences, just stay in the moment, 1 shot at a time. Oh, man. Now he's backing off again. And, man, it's just making it so difficult on himself. This for the front 11.
Oh, no, he did not foul. He did. No!
And he's just now realizing that he's got headphones in, so he didn't hear the buzzer go off. But he looked up at the screen.
Oh, no.
And saw the F go up on the overhead score sheet, and he saw the red light at the floor and knew that he fouled. Nolan has had foul troubles in the past, but there it is. The front 10 and then a foul on the 11th ball. Man.
Front 10 and a foul. No.
And what makes it even more painful is he got the 11th strike. If he hadn't fouled, he'd be able to get up and throw 1 ball for a 300 game.
He's got to throw 1 more ball.
He just kicked over. Like, we're about to have a conversation about this in the meeting, and he kicked over. Trash.
There's the only man who's gotten the front 11 in the league here at Roswell.
Mikey shot 299. He left a 4-pin. First game of the 2016-17 season.
Go tell him that he's got to throw another ball.
I don't know Christian, come on. Did he go? Did he?
Huh?
Did he go outside?
No, he went in the bathroom. We probably don't have 2 there.
And Nolan just stormed off. He was so upset by what happened. He's just...
That's the worst way to have one get away from you.
He's just beside himself, and he kicked over a trash can down at the other end of the bowling center. This is the same guy who was calling a meeting with the varsity players today to tell them they needed to keep their temper in check because he saw some of the younger players on Prodigy acting out, and he felt like they were picking it up by watching the big kids. And now he goes off and kicks over a trash can.
Which trash can did he knock?
He just kicked it,
Well, I understand the frustration. You have no one to blame but yourself. So you take it out on a trash can.
Front 10, then he gets the 11th strike. And fouls.
Man.
Do what?
I don't think this meeting's ever going to happen now. Yeah, so guys, I want to talk to you about your beer.
Put that trash. That's all.
Well, it's okay. This would be a good time to have that meeting, I think.
It'd be an excellent time to have that meeting.
Come on. 280. Let's get it.
I wouldn't doubt that.
276.
276.
Good game.
A little anticlimactic, and that final ball is just kind of
Should have at least been a 296.
an exercise in letting out some frustration, but 276, certainly nothing to sneeze at. It's his high game ever. Perhaps not the way he would have hoped to shoot 276. But there you have it. Nolan denied a chance at a 300 by a foul on the 11th strike. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program. Today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. 13 kids, including 3 visitors, one coming for the first time to Prodigy, started the competition hoping to make the show today. We divided them into 3 divisions, 5 bigs, 4 littles, and 4 handicap players. Each bowled 2 games of qualifying, with the top 2 littles and handicappers making the cut, and the top 3 in the bigs advancing to a 2-match stepladder. So, let's meet our contestants. First, bowling for the title in the Handicap Division is our number 2 qualifier, Faith Roper, and our number 1 qualifier, Ian Robinson. Ian is making his first appearance on Prodigy, and he comes to us from Stars and Strikes in Cumming, Georgia. Then we turn our attention to the littles, where the number 2 seed, Rowan Sautner, will face our number 1 qualifier, Hunter Moffett. Hunter is coming off a win 2 weeks ago on Prodigy. Then in the bigs, our number 3 qualifier, Anthony Smiga, will face our number 2 qualifier, Garrett Haley. Garrett is still looking for his first title on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. The winner of that match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leader, Tristan Davis. Tristan is complaining about some soreness in his bowling elbow, so he's hoping the pain will hold off long enough for him to bowl one more solid game. And that's our field today. Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from the recently remodeled Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. This is Coach Randy welcoming you to episode 87 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. From Paris to LA. And that's a pretty good clue of what we're up to today. For just the second time ever on Prodigy, we've laid out 2 different oil patterns to challenge the kids. On the left lane today, it's the 47-foot-long Paris pattern. And on the right lane, the 36-foot-long Los Angeles pattern. Our bowlers will have to adapt quickly to these 2 very different conditions. I look for them to vary their equipment on the 2 lanes and to play in completely different areas of the lane on the pair. Our 4 qualifying lanes were dressed the same way as the TV pair today, except that the TV pair is fresh as we're going on the air today. Here's how things shaped up through the first game of qualifying. As you can see, Tristan got off to a fast start, taking an 18-pin lead over Garrett and Anthony. In the littles, Hunter had a 2-pin lead over Rowan following game 1, and our 2 other kids, Josh and Reeves, our visitor in the division, were left to try to close the gap in game 2. And in the Handicap Division, our first-time visitor, Ian, found the challenge to his liking as he fired a 191 scratch in that first game to take a 35-pin lead once the handicap was added in. Then in game 2, Tristan and Garrett held their positions 1 and 2, and Anthony, tied for second after game 1, stayed close enough to grab the 3rd spot. In the littles, Hunter extended his lead with a solid 175 game, while Rowan held off a challenge from Josh. And in the Handicap Division, Ian maintained his lead and Faith stayed close behind to grab the second spot on the show today. So, without further ado, let's get this party started. We begin with the handicap match between our 2-seed Faith Roper and our 1-seed Ian Robinson. The handicaps were set at 90% of the difference between their current league averages and 200. Ian was getting 27 pins, Faith was getting 32 pins. That's a difference of 5, so we'll add that 5-pin handicap differential into Faith's score in the very first frame, so you won't have to add a thing. Ian has decided to lead off. And we're going to see some of this. That left lane with the Paris pattern. Long oil. They're not going to get the down lane reaction they're used to seeing. And Ian leaves an unusual spare, the 1-7. Unusual for a right-hander anyway. It's the left-hander's washout. But you shoot it just like a strike. Well, on all spares, you've got to hit the pin in front. And Ian pulls that one and gets 9 out to start. So Faith gets a gift. Ian got off to a fast start in qualifying. He's led the whole way. And you see the different kind of ball reaction on the right lane as that ball took a sharp left turn, and Faith is left with the 6-7-10 split. It can be made. You got to get that ball way over to the right edge of the lane and just slide the 6 over into the 7. And Faith has headed off to a nearby lane where she is grabbing another bowling ball. This looks to be a urethane ball. And she gets a couple, but that's another open, so 9 out for Faith. Now, again, we told you that we'd add her 5-pin handicap differential into her score in the first frame. So there you see it. She got 9 in the first frame. You add 5 to that. She's got 14 in the first and a 5-pin lead over Ian. So with that math out of the way, we can turn our attention to bowling. And now, just like with Ian, she started that outside on the lane, and it's not gonna hook much. 47 feet of oil doesn't leave the ball much room on the back end to start to make its turn and then get into a roll. She's left the rather awkward 1-2-7-8. Get that ball over onto the Brooklyn side. It's a little harder to do on long oil. But she does it perfectly. And that's a good shot by Faith of a tricky spare. So now Ian gets a crack at the right lane. And again, you see the difference in the ball reaction. Ian's shot on the left lane on Paris just slid out all the way to the end of the lane, but on the right lane, with just 36 feet of oil, it has plenty of time to find friction and get into a roll on the back end. Watch this. He had that ball out on about the 5th or 6th board at the break point. Here, watch it again. Get his reaction this time. That's more like it. Well, and a similar ball reaction to the one he had in the first frame. The rule of 31 states that if you subtract 31 from the length of the pattern, in this case, Paris is 47 feet. You subtract 31 from that, you get 16. You want your ball on about the 16th board as it exits the pattern. And this time he pulls it well to the left, just as he did in the first frame on the spare attempt. And now Ian, I think, is a little flummoxed by the left lane. Well, we've mentioned it before on Prodigy. On 39 and 40, the characteristic is 40 always seems to hook a little more than the left lane, 39. But today, that's especially so with the different conditions. That's going to be left. She never got that ball out to the right. So it had no chance, and now she's got a real challenge. The 1-3-8-10, not a spare you see all that often, and the best way to shoot it is with a straight ball from the left side of the lane and hit Brooklyn. If you hook into the Brooklyn side of the head pin, you're liable to deflect around the 8. And that's why a lot of players choose to go at it the way she did, hitting in the 1-3, but you just saw why we don't recommend that. I've seen it done. You got to hit it to where the ball takes out the 1 and the 8 and sends the 3 over into the 10, but you've got to be very precise. There's a good shot on the left lane. She slowed down her speed enough to where she was able to get it to hook just a little. Watch this. She will play a little closer to the center of the lane. That ball is at about 9 at the break point. That's still a little to the right of where we recommend, but she pointed it. She actually had a right to left trajectory on the first half of the lane. All right, Ian, just a little high on the right lane that time, and leaves a simple spare, the 4-pin. This young man, a 170 average in his league out at Stars and Strikes in Cumming, Georgia, just a little north of Alpharetta, which is the next suburb north of Roswell. You got Atlanta, and then north of that you've got Dunwoody. North of that you got Roswell, then Alpharetta, then Cumming, going out north up the freeway they call Georgia 400. You don't want to get stuck on it in rush hour, believe me. There's a strike on the left lane as Ian finally finds the pocket on lane 39. Just in time to put an end to our geography lesson. Again, he starts it a little right of the 10th board, crosses the 10th board, points it left, and that's one way to play long oil. And once again, Faith just doesn't get that ball to push far enough to the right. Some of these kids are afraid to play out by the gutter, but again, the rule of 31 on a 36-foot oil pattern, 36 minus 31 is 5. You want the ball on around the 5th board when it comes off the pattern at the 36-foot mark, and she hooks right by the 9-pin. And you read her body language, it's as if she's saying, I don't know what you have to do to get the ball out there far enough to the right. It does hook early. When you've got just 36 feet of oil, it doesn't even get to those tracers down there when it starts hooking left. That shot wasn't much different from the one she threw on lane 39 in the 4th frame that resulted in a strike. She just threw it a little harder this time, so it never got to read the lane. She leaves the 2-4-5-7 Now, there's a myriad of ways to miss this spare. But she finds a way to make it. And that's exactly the way we prescribe. But now Ian up on the right lane with a strike working. He has a 5-pin lead and can extend it to 15 if he can catch a double right here. Look out. Well, that was well left. Ian would do well to learn to keep his elbow in on the downswing to keep the ball in front of his hand instead of to the left of his hand. Like a lot of young players I see, he's got his hand out to the right side, and that begs for a pull. And he gets a little lucky on the spare attempt as he gets the 1-2-3-5 on the left side as the ball was hooking away. So it's a spare, and he moves to the left lane. But once again, that ball just started too far to the right. Let's see if we can pick up what's going on here on our Prodigy Instatrack. Watch this ball's trajectory. See, it crosses the arrows at about the 8th board and hits at about 8 or 9 at the tracers. But now watch these little lines we're going to put on here. That's the 15th board, then the 16th board. You want the ball on about the 16th board, the rule of 31. 47 minus 31 is 16. That's where you want the ball as it leaves the end of the pattern. It's not going to hook much. Now, where you put your feet relative to the spot at which the ball comes off the end of the pattern, that depends on your rev rate, your speed, your axis rotation, a number of factors. How about that one? How about high flush for Faith? Her best shot of the match so far. Watch this. Again, you want that ball out around the 5th board. She's playing farther in than that. That gets out to about 7. But because of the angle she took, that was enough projection. And that's 10 back. Another one? Oh, yes. And that even gets a round of applause from her opponent, Ian, who now finds himself 18 pins in arrears. So he's got to get busy. Gave that one a little more loft, and he may have caught the ball more on the upswing that time, which when you loft the ball, it tends to delay the hook. But if you catch it on the upswing with your fingers, you actually can put a little more on it. So rather than delaying the hook, you actually just make it hook more. And his attempt to go straight at the 610 misses left. And that's an open frame, and Ian is in trouble now. The best he can shoot is 166. Faith is going at a 176 clip, so she would have to make a mistake to let Ian back in it. Well, the tendency sometimes on short oil is when you've seen the ball sail and miss the head pin to the right enough times, you might try to help the ball up a little bit, steer it. And that's what happened to Ian there, and he just missed left. Swing bounced outside coming down from the top, a little like an over-the-top swing in golf. And he chops the 1-3 off the 6. And the wheels have come off for Ian. The best he can do now is 145. And Faith ought to be able to get there pretty easily. Well, she didn't have any problem getting that one out far enough to the right. She borrowed a little too much. But now with a spare of the 1-2-4, that would give her 133 in the 8th, 143 in the 9th with no more pinfall. There's a conversion, so she just needs a couple more pins and she's home free. Well, this is our first time seeing Ian Robinson on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. I hope we see him again. He's a pretty good little player. His dad is a USBC bronze certified coach. So there's bowling in the family. Faith stuffs him. 10 back in the 10th. And that's your shutout ball right there. Faith puts this one away, gets congratulatory handshake from her opponent. And let's watch the shutout ball once again. Lays it down on about 10, points it at 11 at the arrows. It hits about 13 at the tracers and 10 back. She knew that was good as soon as it left her hand. She was wanting another one, but she'll take 9. And Ian just going through the motions to get this one over with. Faith with a spare here will finish with 173. All right, 172, counting her 5-pin handicap differential. Ian with an open in the 10th. It all doesn't matter because Faith has this one put away. She'll sign the coveted trophy pin and then we'll watch the littles go at it when we return. Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit PRODIGYBowlersTour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling. You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brownswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. Well, there you have it. The title in the Handicap Division is decided. as Faith Roper didn't even need her 5-pin handicap differential to take down first-time Prodigy visitor Ian Robinson. So Faith gets to sign the coveted trophy pin. But first, let's visit quickly with our runner-up.
So here are our two finalists, Faith and Ian. Everybody knows Faith. Nobody knows Ian. Tell us about you.
I failed on my spares. That's it. Make your spares, people.
Okay, that's good advice. Where do you bowl?
I bowl normally at the Stars and Strikes in like the
Coming.
Yeah, coming.
Okay, well, will we see you again?
Probably.
Awesome. Will we see you again?
No, never.
She bowls the league with us. We know she'll be back. What ball were you throwing today?
I was throwing the Timeless.
The Timeless?
Yeah.
Do I need to write over my name?
And what ball were you throwing today?
Show off and Codex.
Show off and Codex. And you went and grabbed Anthony's pitch black for one shot.
Yeah.
And we had to wait for it. Well, go ahead and sign the pin. It's the ceremonial pin signing that is the climax of every championship bout. And Faith, it's 3/2/2019.
Well, I signed my own name on my ball, so
Okay, yes, you can sign your bowling ball, Ian.
Can I fix
won
my
that
other one?
victory.
Huh?
Am I allowed to fix my other one?
Yeah, you can fix your other one.
3.
And I didn't win, but I signed my ball.
So, congratulations to our finalists.
I'm not
And
faded faith
to
anymore.
our winner, Faith, in the Handicap Division. Yay!
So now we turn our attention to the Littles Division, as our number 2 qualifier, Rowan Sautner, faces our number 1 seed, Hunter Moffitt. These two are the highest average bowlers we have in our Roswell Junior Varsity League, and they've squared off before on Prodigy, with Hunter getting the best of Rowan each time. Rowan has tasted victory before on Prodigy, but never when he had to go through Hunter to get there. He's hoping that today he can get past his buddy to sign the coveted trophy pin once again. Hunter playing it pretty straight on the left lane, as you will see most of the players doing. He just didn't get that one quite far enough to the right and leaves the 3. Simple spare. And he has no problem with it. That actually would be about where he'd want to put the first ball, where he put his spare ball that time. Now Rowan. Now he has one reactive resin ball, and he's using it here on the right lane. I don't know if I like that choice. And that's why it crosses over. He's going to have a hard time keeping that ball to the right of the head pin. He has a couple of plastic balls that I think would be a better choice on short oil. Watch this. He's throwing it over the 4th arrow. It gets out to about 10, and then a sharp left turn. Going to have to get that ball farther to the right on the right lane. On the left lane, he can play it straighter like that, because at 47 feet of oil, the ball's not going to hook as much. But it's still crossed over. He's got the 7 pin, and this is one we would expect he would have no problem with. Rowan, like Hunter, good little spare shooter. Look out. It just stayed on the lane. Take a closer look at this one. You see it's going to hook a little bit, and just as it's falling off into the gutter, but before it does, it catches the 7 pin. And we'll watch his reaction and his body English. Yes, yes. All right, Hunter. Now Hunter also crossed over, but he's got his plastic ball that he's throwing on the right lane. That's a T-zone, I believe. Rowan's got 3 balls in his arsenal, a reactive and a couple of plastic balls. Hunter has a timeless, a pitch black, and a T-zone. And I think he's throwing his timeless on the left lane. And that one hooks just enough to leave a difficult split. We saw this one in our first match, the 6-7-10. You want to get the ball over on the right side of the 6, slide it over into the 7. Oh, and he gives it a go. It just sailed a little wide on him. He didn't miss by more than about an inch. All right, Rowan back up on the right. And again, he would do well to switch to one of his plastic balls on that right lane. He's going to have a hard time keeping that reactive ball. I believe it's a tropical breeze right of the head pin. And as you can see, he can hook that plastic ball too. So, a spare and a strike and an 8 out for both of them, and they're tied. Now, I think that's the right ball choice for Rowan on the left lane. In fact, if he had something a little stronger than that tropical breeze, it probably would be good on that left lane. For long oil, you need all the ball you can get. Well, that's kind of a general statement. I'd say this little guy could use all the ball he can get. And he covers the spare. That's a good shot. The 2-5, easily choppable, and he got it. All right, Hunter back up on lane 40. And it's like copycat city here. He too leaves the 2-5. Now he will sometimes shoot his spares one-handed. But not this one. Oh! Maybe he should have shot that one one-handed so that it would hook a little less. But that's an open frame, and Hunter surrenders the lead to Rowan. And that time, that ball hooks just high enough to leave a tricky little spare, the 3-6-10. You want to shoot this cross lane from the left side of the lane. Throw it straight at the 3-6. The 6 will get the 10. Oh, but you can't send it wide on this oil pattern. It will not come back like it does on the house shot or like it does on lane 40 on Los Angeles. All right, Rowan now up on the right. Yikes. Well, we talk about the rule of 31. You subtract 31 from the length of the pattern. In this case, 36. Here's the ball crossing about the 4th arrow, but he only gets it out to about the 14th board. It needs to be over on about the 5th board so that it has room to hook. That ball ends up over by the 4 and 7. There's his plastic ball, and that one doesn't hook as much. He still needs to be playing farther to the right on that right lane, even with his plastic ball. Watch this. That crosses about the 4th arrow. And it still hooks on the back end, but because it's plastic, it didn't hook as much and got a piece of the head pin. That's more like it right there. That time that reactive ball was just the right medicine for lane 39. Watch his reaction to it as he sends everything over at the 7 pin and shreds the rack. Well, that's the danger you run when you throw plastic. Sometimes it won't hook enough. I think Hunter would probably do well if he was throwing his pitch black on that right lane. Plastic will certainly tame down the hook, but you want the ball to finish some. He gives it a go, but the washout hands him an open frame. And the lead is now 26. There's a perfect strike for Hunter on the left lane. High flush. Take another look at it. Keeps his hand nicely behind the ball to control the hook, control the pocket, and crunch berries. Read his body language. He's disappointed. He feels like he should have had more of those sooner in the match. Well, Rowan throwing that reactive ball on the right lane. He's just not projecting it far enough out to the right. He'll go with his plastic ball at the spare. This is just like a strike now. But it hooks left. And he would do well to get his hand more behind the ball. Let's take another look at this and see if we can pick it out. See where his hand is at release. He's all the way on the side. We want his arm behind the ball. The ball should be directly under his head, and his arm ought to be here closer to his body. That would give him a little better reaction, and you can tell he did not like that one. I understand. Well, it was a little left of the mark, but that left lane, the ball's not going to run away like a runaway train. And he gets a Brooklyn. So Hunter, with a strike up, can tie the match. But instead he goes high, and now he's got a handful. The 3, 6, 9, 10. The pros will tell you that next to a split or a washout, this is the toughest spare there is. A whole myriad of ways to miss this. Well, and that's one of them. And look at this, Hunter, not a happy camper. That's got to get up. He just got back to the head pin. He could have left most anything if it had missed the head pin. A washout, a 210, who knows? But at least he leaves a makeable spare, the 2-5. And he covers it, but he knows that it ain't looking good. Okay, this time Rowan gets that thing out to the right, and look at this. It comes charging back, and he rips the rack, and that's a double to give him a 38-pin lead heading into the 10th frame. He gave that one plenty of room out to the right. Look at that, it's on the 5th board. Just like we said, it needs to be right around the 5th board as it exits the pattern. And he can shut out Hunter right here. The soft 8. But that's enough to put him over the top, and Rowan has won the match. Here's how you leave a soft 8. It's not quite a stone 8. The 5 goes in front of the 8. The ball deflects and splits the 5 and 6, sending the 5 in front of the 8. On a stone 8, you chop the 5 straight back. But Rowan doesn't care. He's got the dub. And he's going to be in the 170s if he gets 8 or better. And that's a good game on a tough pair of conditions. Go ahead and let it go, Rowan. This one's already salted away. It's a little high, and he only gets 7, so it's going to be a 169. But that's a good game. Hunter leaves the 2-4-5, but he's just going through the motions now. You can see the frustration on his face. He gets the spare. I love seeing these two congratulate one another. Hunter congratulating Rowan anyway, and 8 out on the last ball, so it's going to be a 130 for Hunter. But Rowan's 169 wins the day. He'll sign the coveted trophy pin, and then we'll see Anthony and Garrett go at it in the bigs. Hey, it's me, Coach Randy, with exciting news about a new way you can help support Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Over the past couple of years, we've had a number of Prodigy fans say they'd love to offer something in payment for the Prodigy content seen each week on YouTube throughout the bowling season. Well, I'm pleased to announce that Prodigy is now on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, in case you're not familiar with it, Patreon is a platform where YouTube content consumers like you can connect directly with YouTube content creators like me and pledge a small amount of money each month to support the work that goes into creating the content that you enjoy watching. It's based on the age-old concept of patrons. About 30 to 40 hours of work goes into the production of each and every episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. So if you enjoy the content on Prodigy Bowlers Tour each week and you'd like to support the show, please check it out at patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. There are 4 affordable subscription tiers, and each one offers a different reward, up to and including sneak peeks of shows before they're released to the public, exclusive behind-the-scenes content that only members will ever see, and there's even a tier that will enable you to get all that and get your name in the credits each week as a producer of the show. You'll be helping me to be able to continue making the show each week and even reinvest some of the money into improving the show going forward. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks for supporting Prodigy Bowlers Tour. So the championship in the littles is now in the books, as Rowan fired a solid 169 game with 8 clean frames to notch his first victory in quite a while, capping off a successful comeback after being away for a few weeks. As is usually the case, spares were the difference in this one. Rowan had 2 open frames while Hunter had 5. So you could make a case that this week's title was won with spares, not strikes. Whatever the formula, Rowan was pretty happy about the outcome, as the young fella got to sign the coveted trophy pin for the second time before he had to race off to make his Saturday afternoon lacrosse game. And that means it's time for us to shift our focus to the main event today, the Bigs Division, where we have a 2-match stepladder today. In this first match, our 3-seed Anthony Smiga takes on our 2-seed Garrett Haley. Both of these two are due. Anthony has been sitting on just 1 win for over a year, while he's been knocking at the door week after week. And Garrett, although he doesn't get to bowl that many events with us, has been close a few times and feels like he's overdue. He's brought his girlfriend with him today, hoping she brings him good luck. And like so many before him, first ball on the left lane doesn't quite get up. And he leaves the 2-5. Choppable spare. He'll play it from the right side of the lane. And whiffs it. Goodness. Would never expect that out of Garrett. All right, Anthony. And there you see the way to play Los Angeles. Anthony gets that ball all the way out to about the 5th board. Watch this. That's out to about the 4th board right there. 4th or 5th, somewhere in there. And boom. And a much straighter shot on the left lane where we have 47 feet of oil. And he comes in just a touch high, leaves the 4. And Anthony takes care of the spare, no problem. So now Garrett moves over to the right lane. You can see he's way over to the left side of the lane. Swings it out. Too much. Looks like he missed his mark by a couple of boards, and you don't have margin for error on a sports shot like you would on a house shot. And he hooks by the 1-2-4 and gets 8 out. So a disastrous start for Garrett. Not what he had in mind. I like this kid's game. It's pretty solid. He gets super low at the line. Oh my. Just missed his target left. He's telling himself to just settle down. Garrett is a pretty high-strung guy. And he nearly missed the 4-pin, but gets 9 out. Still 3 opens to start the match. And Anthony already with a 35-pin lead. And look at this. That's what's going to happen every now and then when you play out by the edge. You're going to let one get away right, and you just wave bye. And that time he took the gutter out of play and threw it a little extra hard, and it never took the break. So that's 9 out, and that big lead is down to 14. Crossing over. And he leaves double wood, the 3-9. This can be a little tricky. You've got to hit the 3-pin right on the face. or if the ball is hooking right to left, you can hit it a little on the right side, let the ball drive through and get the sleeper 9. And right square in the middle is the best way, right there. All right, let's see if Garrett can figure out something here. He's not out of this match by any means. Well, he got a piece of the head pin and leaves a rather unusual spare for a right-hander, the 5/8. And he runs by it. It's like he's having an out-of-body experience right before our eyes. I have no explanation for this. There's a better shot. That's the Garrett we know. Got a nice straight swing. Rips it at the bottom. 10 back. Anthony plows him over. He's thinking, where was that in the third frame? This is what he's looking for right here. That one over about the 6th board. So he's got a little area to play with. But goes right square through the snoot on the left lane and is lucky to just leave one. Oh, he wasn't sure about that one. He was afraid he missed it left, but the long oil saved him, as that ball never had a chance to hook by the 6. All right, Garrett trailing by 26. He can close the lead down with a couple of strikes here. There you go. Gets a light shaker right off the wall. Watch it again. Stays down nicely, gets it out to about 5. And mixes them up. Garrett will show you his emotion. You can tell he's trying to keep it in check, though, a little bit, because he's got work to do. He yelled at that one. And it listened as he tips the 10 inward. Watch this. Watch the 6 pin, the second one from the right. It'll go to the wall. Almost a ringing 10, but it just got the 10 from the right. I think he liked this one. That's left. That's way left. Well, Anthony, like a lot of these kids we see, has a world of potential, and if he would ever learn to keep his right elbow in tight to his body, coming down through the swing instead of letting it get on the outside, those errant shots to the left would disappear from his game. Crossing over, leaves the 6, and you can tell he's frustrated. He just can't seem to buy a double this match, and he's seeing his lead shrink. Anthony had a big lead earlier in the match, and now it's down to just 2. And Garrett, working on 3 in a row, has a chance to take the lead if he can get a strike here in the 8th. Oh, that's a pretty good shot right there. A nice commercial shot, but just fractionally high. He leaves the 4-pin and gives up a pin and count, so Anthony maintains a 3-pin edge. Oh my goodness gracious. What has happened to Garrett's spare game today? That's 4 easy spares that he's just whiffed. So after all that work to string those 3 in a row, to climb back in it, he finds himself 15 pins behind, now heading into the 9th and 10th. And this time, it doesn't quite get up. It's hard to get into a rhythm when you're bowling on long and short oil. You're throwing it out to the right on one lane, going straight on the other, varying your speed back and forth. Here, you got to go straight at the pocket on the left lane. And you most certainly want to go straight at your spares. And once again, Garrett whiffs an easy one. And Anthony takes full advantage. Watch this. Solid in the pocket. He needs 7 pins to put this match away. See you later. This one is over. Garrett had crawled back to within 2 pins in this match and then gave it right back. And Anthony is going to finish in the 180s. And Garrett, the best he can do is 149. Not the game he had hoped for, and certainly not what we're used to seeing from Garrett, as he just wants to get it over with. Well, it's Anthony who's moving on to the championship match. He'll face Tristan when we return. Well, Garrett just dug himself a deep hole at the beginning of that match, and then just when he thought he'd crawled back out, he started digging again. And eventually, Anthony just slammed the lid shut. So it certainly wasn't the performance Garrett was looking for or is capable of, but he'll be back. Meanwhile, Anthony is now a step closer to his goal of notching his 2nd victory on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. But he'll first have to get past one of the most consistent performers we've had on Prodigy these past 2 seasons. Tristan seized the lead after the first game of qualifying today, and has a chance in this match to go wire to wire. Which one of these two will outlast the other? We'll know in about 20 minutes. Anthony wide right with his opening toss in the championship match. He should know what that lane's doing by now. But he misses right again on the spare attempt. And that's 8 out. So now we get our first look at Tristan today. Sort of a perennial participant in these Prodigy events. He's missed a few weeks. He was out at the Georgia All-Stars tournament a couple of weeks ago on the team that claimed the overall title for the season. And that ball a little wide of the mark. He got it to come back and just tick the head pin. Leaves the 2. Familiar game. Nice, loose arm swing. No tension in that swing. I think that's why he's one of the steadiest players we have. And he covers the spare with ease. So an early 12-pin advantage for Tristan. Now he will tell you that because of his lower rev rate, he's usually concerned about bowling on long oil. But he's won on Prodigy before, bowling on long oil. So his confidence should be buoyed somewhat by that. Going with a different ball on the left lane, one that is a little stronger. And he plows right into the pocket and takes them all down. Oh boy. Well, we've seen this before from Anthony. He's so good when he keeps that right elbow in tight, but when it flies out to the left, that hand gets on the outside of the ball and he'll pull it. And then he overcorrects. So that's back-to-back opens to start the match. And he's already picking up his ball and ready to go. I noticed this in the last game. Got a little out of his tempo. And he better be careful. If he doesn't slow down a little bit, he's going to be going so fast that he loses all of his tempo. Here's the washout, the 1-2-4-10. Get the ball to the left of the head pin. Throw it over into the 10. Usually you move your feet about 7 boards right. Throw your strike ball. But that one overhooks a little bit. And that's 3 opens in a row to start. 8, 8, and 8. And Tristan with a big 36-pin lead before he throws his first ball in the 3rd frame. Pretty much the same shot he threw in the 1st frame. Just doesn't quite make it back. Lucky he didn't leave the 210 or some similar combination. But an easy spare. And he takes care of it once again. You would think that a lower rev player would have more success on the shorter oil pattern where he gets the ball to finish a little harder on the back end. But sometimes the lane condition that players will bowl better on is just the one that suits their eye. The one that produces the ball motion that they're used to seeing. And Tristan, straighter thrower. Well, that time he threw it out to the right like he was expecting it to come back, but you can't swing it out to the right on Paris, and he knows it. That one just got away from him. Very uncharacteristic for Tristan. But he loses 10 pins in count, so that 36-pin lead is now shaved to 26, and he'll have to get all 10 to go down or he's going to lose some more. Well, that was more like it, but it was just a little wide, and 7 out. And Anthony up in a hurry, ready to go. And wait a minute, he's having second thoughts. Well, this is what I was talking about earlier. You get to where your tempo is just all over the place. He just threw that one too hard. He didn't throw it any wider than he threw some of the others that came back and struck. He just didn't. Either didn't catch it or just threw it too hard. And then a little overcompensation. He's taking no time on any of these shots. He just picks up his ball and is ready to go. Look at this. He's going again. Oh, boy. Well, Mama said there'd be days like this. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. It's quite something when you see somebody make it. Slide the 3 over into the 4. But he hits a little too full on the 3-pin, and that's 5 opens in a row to start the match. I've never seen Anthony do this on any lane condition. He's a much better bowler than this. But I think the frustration set in after about the second frame, and he's just not taking any time at all. Oh, Tristan light again on the right lane, and this time he rolls the 2. That wasn't any different from the first 2 that he threw on that right lane. This time he just got a little different pin action. Watch this. The head pin will go to the left wall, and it knocks the 4 into the back of the 2-pin. And now Tristan, who very rarely will give you much reaction at all, he's looking at that like, did I really see what I think I saw? A little wry smile, has a couple of words for Anthony. He knows he got away with one. But there was absolutely nothing wrong with that one. And Tristan puts a double up to take a 47-pin lead. Watch this. Goes over about the 12th board at the arrows, out to about 10. So he's only swinging it about 2 boards to the right overall. And that's 10 back. Little body English, never hurts. All right, Anthony. That's more like what he's looking for, but he would like to see the 10 go. Best shot he's thrown so far this match. And he goes one-handed at the 10 and gets his first mark of the game. Starting to worry about a little Tom Doherty action here. There's a strike. And that'll put the Tom Doherty outcome on the back burner for now. Easily the best shot he's thrown in a while today. Solid in the pocket. Kept his elbow in a little tighter that time. When he does that, he throws plenty of ball. His carry percentage is pretty good when he's in the pocket. Missed left that time. That ball just never got out as wide as the others he's thrown on that right lane. And so, not surprisingly, it hooked high, and he's got the 6-10. And I love his spare technique. He just flattens his wrist and comes straight up the back of the ball to throw it end over end straight. So here's the situation. Tristan with a 45-pin lead. Anthony can strike out for a possible 180. Tristan is going at a 185 pace. So it's not out of the wood yet. Uh-oh. Well, that's the kind of break that Anthony is looking for as Tristan leaves what some call the super washout. The 1-2-4, 6-10, two ways of making it. Put the ball on the left side of the head pin, throw it over into the 6-10, or throw it straight from the left side of the lane into the right side of the head pin. Let the ball deflect over into the 6 and 10. It looks like that's what Tristan's going to try to do. And he does it perfectly. A great shot. Let's watch that one again. He lines up from the left side of the lane. He will throw this end over end, straight as a string, right at the right side of the head pin, and it deflects over into the 6-10, just like we drew it up. All right, Anthony. Oh, man. Pretty good shot. Nearly got rewarded with the 7-10, but the messenger broke that up. But now he is got his back to the wall. Okay, a spare in the 8th, so that will give him 80 in the 7th. He can shoot 160. That means Tristan will need one more mark somewhere, and good count. Boom! Anthony needs 3 more of those. One more mark will just about wrap it up for Tristan. Watch this one. Anthony's like, where has that been? Well, that goes high. He gets good count. So with a spare here in the 9th, Tristan will not need a mark in the 10th. He can just get good count and walk this one home. Ka-ching. So that sets Tristan up for the 10th frame, and he can wrap this up with 6 pins on the first ball. 6 would give him 155 in the 9th, and even if he misses them all, he'd have 161 in the 10th. The best Anthony can do is 160. And that'll do it right there. That's the shutout ball. Well, if the strike didn't shut Anthony out, that gutter ball would have. Let's watch the shutout ball one more time. Over the third arrow, out to about 12, so he's bellying the ball no more than about 3 boards. And Anthony just getting out of Tristan's way. Pretty good shot, ringing 10, so Tristan's going to end up with 179 with a conversion. So, pretty solid day, I'd say. 212 his first game of qualifying. A 169 the second game. They switched pairs between the first and second game of qualifying. We bowled on 35-36 and 37-38 for the qualifying games, and then moved over to the end pair for the show. But it's Tristan Davis who will get his name on the coveted trophy pin once again. We'll visit with him next.
Bowling for excitement, bowling just for fun. Bowling for the action when the weekend comes. Shake 'em up, shake 'em up. It's the weekend blast when the lanes are fast. Shake 'em up. We're bowling after dinner, putting on a show. Everyone's a winner, man, you gotta go. Shake 'em up, shake 'em up. Do a day or night, bowling's out of sight. Shake 'em up.
Shake up your weekend plans. Get out and bowl wherever you see this sign.
So, in our journey from Paris to LA today, we crowned 3 champions. In the Handicap Division, it was Faith who claimed the prize from Ian. In the Littles Division, Rowan got the best of Hunter. And in the Bigs, it was Tristan's steady play that won the day over Anthony. The other 2 have already signed the coveted trophy pin, so it's time we get one more signature before we call it a day.
So, Anthony, for a moment there, I was really afraid that we were going to have one of those Tom Doherty moments.
100, yeah.
Where you just squeaking by to get 100, but you at least got past that benchmark. Pretty easy. What balls were you throwing there in that last game?
IQ Tour and Physics and Halo.
Did any of them work?
No.
Okay.
The first game, yes.
Yeah, you bowled great in the qualifying. Tristan, what ball were you throwing?
I was using the Sonic on the right, Halo on the left.
Sonic on the right, Halo on the left. And that's a big win for you. How many is this season?
I think 3.
I think so, 3.
There's 1, 2.
So there are our finalists. And Tristan, once again, putting his name on the coveted trophy pin.
Red.
Congratulations.